Dominic Toretto just turned.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Half-Ass Movie Reviews. My name is John.
And my name is Matt.
And today we're diving back into the Fast and Furious franchise with the Fate of the Furious. And guess what? Justin Lin didn't direct this one.
No, he did not, and I think it shows.
In a good way, because F. Gary Gray directed this one. Do you know who F. Gary Gray is?
I don't.
You should know. He directed a little movie called Friday.
Like
The Friday.
Ice Cube's?
Friday, yep.
Oh.
Yep, he directed that. He also directed another movie I know you really like, Straight Outta Compton.
Really?
Yep, and one of the most underrated heist movies of all time called Set It Off.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I don't see the resemblance between this and the Friday and Straight Outta Compton movie.
Oh, he also did The Italian Job from '03, which is where I guess he worked with Jason Statham first, ironically.
Okay.
So, yeah, no, has he done anything else recently that would make me think that, yeah, he doesn't really do big action films like this. This is probably the biggest movie I've seen him do. Oh, Be Cool. Oh, Law Abiding Citizen. I love Law Abiding Citizen. And then it says here, the last movie he directed was this, The Fate of the Furious. So another big part of this movie is we got some new characters that pop up in here.
Who?
No, I guess nobody new pops up. Jason.
Like the villain was new, I guess, but there wasn't like a new cast member.
No, I guess there wasn't any new
Like,
cast.
to the team.
No, you're right. I guess nobody was new. Oh, no. Yeah, Charlize Theron.
Who?
Charlize Theron?
Who the fuck is that?
She's the villain.
That's what I just said. The villain is new, yeah, but like not
but she's a big...
Yeah, but it's always a new villain.
Yeah.
It's the cast members or like the team ain't.
No, the team is now the only big difference to the team now is that we lost Brian, so we kind of replaced them. We replaced Brian with I guess Ramsey's an official member of the team now.
Yeah, I noticed that she's riding with Tej.
Yeah, they don't even bring it up, so I'm guessing Tej brought her along, but they didn't bring up that like she's a part of the family now. She's a part of the family unit. But
right.
So do you want to dive into this one?
Yes.
As we open up in Havana, Cuba.
Cuba, just an ass right on the screen.
Yep, that's how you open the movie.
I like that.
Now, do you know anything about Cuba? Like, I don't know if you know anything about it, but were you wondering why they all drive old cars like that at all?
In Vice City, when you go to like Little Havana in Vice City, they had the same type of car.
So in Cuba...
Either they like that or they're poor and getting hand-me-downs.
So Cuba was cut off from the rest of the world for a very long time, until pretty recently. I think that this movie is probably like one of the first movies to bring up that we returned to Cuba. Okay. So their cars were just basically the cars that were from like the 50s and 60s, because when they stopped getting imports and everything like that, that's what was floating around. That's why they have all those cars. And if you played, I don't think you played it, Far Cry 6, it's in Cuba also, and you drive around in like those old like 56 Chevys or Impalas and all that stuff.
Those are cool cars, though.
They are cool cars.
That. But I was curious, like, why is there all the same? Like, why is there so many of these here?
It's because they just never got anything new.
Interesting.
I don't know if it's like that right now, but my wife went to Cuba and she says it's just like that. She's like, the cars are all those like 50s and 60s old Chevys and everything like that. It just feels like you're going into a time capsule when you go to Cuba.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting stuff.
Fun fact that I did not know.
I'm full of them.
So the movie opens up and Dom has a cousin.
Yes.
That was never mentioned.
Nope, not
until
once.
then, and is not mentioned after the opening of this movie.
Nope, we mentioned the guy who he races more than we mentioned his own cousin.
Yeah. So Dom's cousin, he's getting into trouble, and he's got to race somebody because this is how we solve all our problems.
Well, because he lost, apparently.
Oh, right. So he lost his car in a race to the fastest guy in Cuba, but I guess Dom must have just got there because we all know he's the fastest guy around. So he gets there, and Uncle Dom, he's gonna come take care of the problem.
He's like,
so he gets in the guy's face and he challenges him to a race, and the guy's got the fastest car ever. So Dom goes, all right, well, I'll do it in the car that you just want, my nephew's car that apparently is not that fast.
A piece of junk.
So he just goes over there and just bare hand, he's ripping the fenders, the hood, all this, just rips it all apart bare hand.
But you know why he's got
not a
that
single
car?
Tool. What?
Because do you know what Dom said, right? He said it doesn't matter how good the car is.
Yeah,
it's the driver.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true. In this case, it is.
To an extent.
Yeah, in this case, 100%, because only Dom can do what happens in this race.
Right, to an extent, that's true. However, but they said it was kind of slow, but there was a turbo. If you noticed, you saw a little snail under the hood. Well, after he ripped the hood off, there was visibly a turbo.
And then he made a
that
poor
went
man.
to nowhere.
Yeah.
Also, and then
What are you doing?
Poor man's turbo. Pull the vacuum line. Hold on.
that's bullshit.
I was wondering about that. The poor man's nitrous, is that a real thing? Where you pull on the vacuum, I think he said you pull.
I don't think so, but I don't know. They're just getting a little crazy. They're just throwing any little car term and just at the wall and seeing what sticks. I guess I don't know.
Because I don't think he could win this race.
No, and then we're racing, and this guy's not racing clean. He's racing dirty.
Yeah, yes.
He pushes Dom off the road. Dom's car's blowing up. It's on fire.
Dom just wiping the heat out of his face. To make sure
the fire's blowing in his face. So you know what? What does he do? Throws it in reverse. He does an old J turn, gets it into reverse, and beats the guy in reverse somehow. Because not only...
That's impossible, right?
Well, I mean, I'm sure with some sort of modifications you can get a high-speed reverse gear like that. But I'm pretty good at driving in reverse. Like, I can maybe do like 20, 25 in reverse, and that's pretty fast in reverse.
That is very fast in reverse.
For him to be doing whatever speed and then jumps out and the fucking...
He rolls out twice in this
Superman,
movie.
he fucking superhero lands after the car blows off the road into the thing. He wins the race by a fucking bumper. He superhero rolls, and then all the kids actually run up to him, and he gets up and fucking Vin Diesel.
And then this is when Vin Diesel pulls out the old, he's going to teach some life lessons on him. He's like, what?
Right, so he's like, well, a deal's a deal. And then he looks at it, he looks at the Cuban flag.
Ben looks at Letty.
And he's like, keep your car. Mm-hmm. He's like, and then I guess that was him saying, because he got the respect. Mm-hmm. So the respect was more important to him than the car.
Yep. And then in the next scene, he's just walking around Cuba. He basically said, sorry about your car. He gives his nephew his car.
Yes.
He's like, it's too slow for a Toretto anyway.
Yeah, so he gives him his brand new, beautiful Impala, and then they just walk off. Like, where are they going? Like,
no, they're on their honeymoon. We find out later.
Where are they just wandering around Cuba?
They had a nice place.
Where he got this car from, I don't know. But the next scene, him and Letty are in bed. They're talking about having a baby. Mm-hmm. And then they just kind of leave that open-ended. And then the next morning, Dom went out to get breakfast. He sees this blonde having car trouble. Now, if you look at it, the motor is cranking very, very slowly. And he immediately says, sounds like it's not getting any fuel. But, I would probably say, like, maybe your battery's dying. And
this just shows the heart of Dom. Someone's over there, beautiful blonde, struggling. This would be me if that same situation. Just keep walking. That doesn't need to concern me.
Yeah,
but it's Dom Toretto, and he's got
So he goes over there. He notices the fuel pump relay has been removed, and that's why the car's not starting. So she tricked him, and she gives him a phone with some video on it that we don't know yet. So she's basically blackmailing him to work for her. And we don't know what was on the phone, what kind of pictures or video he saw. And then they jump right into it.
Pretty sure they jump right into it. Like, what exactly leads into after this? Like, he goes back with Letty. Because he's like, I wouldn't tell anyone about this, Dom. I guess they'll be coming and knocking when it's time. Well, we see when he turns.
Right, okay, so he's back with Letty, and then it goes to Hobbs.
Yep.
It goes to Hobbs, and he's giving a speech. He's leading his team into battle, and then we find out he's just coaching
his daughter's soccer.
The soccer team, and it was a cool little scene, and then he does like this war dance, and all the girls are doing these like moves and chanting in the other team's face, and the other team is just
The Rock is Samoan.
What the hell is going on? And then the one girl's like, I don't want to play anymore. So it was pretty funny, and then he goes onto the sidelines, and all the moms are there.
Yeah, and the guy walks up and he's like, a lot more moms than kids.
Yeah.
And they're all like looking at The Rock. He's
It's like Big Soccer Town.
Big Soccer Tail, that's what it is.
Yeah. So they're all there for The Rock because, he's a big hulked out monster.
Yeah.
Coaching the Little League soccer team.
The Rock is a saint. That's all it is. He's always going to do the honorable thing.
Right. So he's on the sidelines, and I guess whatever agency Hobbs works for is there telling him about his next job. And he's trying to explain to him, listen, the only thing I love more than my job or whatever it is my daughter. So if you don't start getting some team spirit, I'm going to have them all kick you in the
balls, line them up and kick him in the dick.
He said Tay-Tay. Because he was talking about a Taylor Swift concert.
Yep. So then the guy's like, go Red Dragons.
Yeah, go Red Dragons. And then his daughter scores a goal, comes over to hug her dad, sees the suit, and she's like,
Daddy's gotta go to work.
Yeah. Daddy's got to go to work.
because we got that in Fast 6 or 7?
Fast 7 was
when
the one.
when he breaks the cast off
the
and
one
says
before.
Daddy's got to go to work.
Yep. So now that they know.
Yeah, so he says that again. That's the thing they do. We like that. And then he says, all right, well, you're going to need a team. He said, I got a team.
Yep.
And the first guy he calls is the criminal team of Dom and all his guys, because...
They got to meet in Berlin, he says.
Right, so this high-end, under-the-radar government agency, they're contracting these criminals to help, because that's legal. I don't know how that works, but we like that.
Yep.
Dom's a great guy. They without any questions.
All of them come.
Hobbs goes, all right, I got this job in Berlin, and Dom's like, all right, I'll gather the team. We'll see you in Berlin.
Yep. I'll meet you
All
in
right,
Berlin.
Thanks. No problem.
Everyone could just meet in Berlin. Everyone just stop their lives and let's go meet here. And this is the first time, it's just like any other superhero movie in the sense we've established the team. Now we're just going right into them doing jobs. It's like Guardians 2 after the first Guardians movie.
Right.
So we just see them jump in and
It's
pull
not
in the
an
job.
origin story anymore.
No.
Yeah.
We just see them do it. We actually don't even see them do the job. They finished it. They completed the job.
This is year 3
Yeah.
for the team. So they are tasked with... We don't even know what the job is because we're at the end of the job. They're escaping some facility in Berlin, Germany. Apparently, they stole an EMP.
Yep.
So the team is tasked with breaking off or splitting up. Half the team goes one way. The Rock and Dom go one way. Dom crashes into Hobbs, sends him into a barrel roll, crashes his car. Dom jumps out, grabs the EMP, throws it in his car, and says nothing to Hobbs as Hobbs is saying, you're making a mistake. It's not too late, da-da-da-da-da. And that's it. He steals the EMP from Hobbs, takes off, and leaves Hobbs to be arrested.
Yeah, and Hobbs radios to the rest of the teams that Dom and Toretto just betrayed us.
Dom's gone rogue.
Hobbs gone rogue. This I remember from the trailers. That some bitch betrayed us. The way The Rock says some bitch, too.
Yeah.
That some bitch just crossed us.
It's just overly rocked. But yeah, he got caught, and just like the guy told him, if you do get arrested, there is nothing we can do for you. You are going to jail. Mm-hmm. And I believe the next scene does cut to The Rock going to jail, right?
He's getting walked in. He's just this monster.
Oh my god, in that orange jumpsuit.
Oh my god, he's a fucking animal.
Yeah.
So he's getting walked into the jail, and Mr. Nobody shows up with his new
Scott Eastwood.
trainee,
Scott Eastwood.
if you will, his Padawan learner.
He calls him Little Nobody.
Yeah.
So Scott Eastwood, you know who that is, right?
Not really.
You've heard of Clint Eastwood.
Yep.
That's his dad.
Okay, makes sense. Looks like him a little bit.
Does, the eyes. Yeah.
So he's trying to let him, get his feet wet. So Mr. Nobody is like, all right, you take care of you talk to Hobbs or whatever, and because basically he's got a deal for him. He can get him out of there.
But he's got to come work with him.
Right. So he doesn't say the right thing. Hobbs is straight edge by the book. He wants to do everything his way on his own terms. Blah, blah, blah.
Prove he's not guilty to the courts of Brazil is his plan.
Right. So because I think if Mr. Nobody got him out of there, he would still be charged criminally, but he'd be let off of everything. But he would lose his job and have to come work off the grid with Mr. Nobody.
Mm-hmm. Which I'm guessing that's how Mr. Nobody got his job.
I mean, it sounds like a great... I probably would have done it.
100% I went.
Yeah,
but you gotta
mean
remember,
I don't got to go in here? No problem. Let's go.
I don't got to come in here and I get to work with you and just do whatever the fuck I want?
Yeah, hang out. Drink some of that Belgian ale.
And The Rock seems like he'd love it.
Yeah. It would be a great time.
Yeah.
Anyway, So he says something about his daughter. He picks him up.
Breaks the fucking chains.
Yeah, he breaks the chains off, picks them up, holds them against the wall, and Mr. Nobody's like, no, it's good, it's good, it's good. You know, and the guards are like, I don't know. And he's like, oh, I got it. And so he's questioning him, and he's saying, oh, you know what? You said the wrong thing. I'm sorry. And then what does Kurt Russell say?
To the guy, or to he says, he's like, I gave you a shot. You shit the bed.
Yeah.
Now I'll take care of it.
Right. Yeah. He drops him, and then The Rock walks in and says, I'm gonna do this my way. And he goes in there, and he's walking through the jail and all the people he put in there, because this is the only jail all his convicts went to, and then it's the same jail that Jason Statham is in.
Yep.
Shaw, right? Deckard Shaw is right across the street from him.
Yeah. Which, by the way, this entire exchange between the two of them, I just ate that up. I love those two just shouting insults at each other.
Such a cliche. Oh well, welcome to the club.
And I feel like, I mean, maybe, I don't know Jason Statham, maybe he had some lines to read, but there's no way that wasn't improv for The Rock.
No, 100%. It was literally cutting Rock promos. Like, I feel like, because it literally felt like the most The Rock felt comfortable in the entire stuff. He doesn't feel like he's reading lines, like you said. He just feels like he
they get to that later when they were. We'll get to that, but so they're bullshitting back and forth and saying what they're gonna do to each other and who's the tougher guy, and you know.
Yep.
Kind of like that scene in SpongeBob about the salt. What is it? The
salty spittoon.
This toughest sailor club ever to be built under the 7 seas.
There's something like that. And then you have to. I'm tough. I stepped on whatever he said, and I only cried for 30 minutes.
And he's like, I ate nails for breakfast or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's tough. All right, you can go in.
Yeah. Anyway, so they're bullshitting back and forth. They're saying, oh, I would beat you with a bare fist, blah, blah, blah. The Rock rips the fucking bench off the ground and just starts curling it, the cement thing. You see his fucking massive fucking biceps and triceps and muscle. He's got muscles on his muscles. He's a fucking monster.
It's insane, because Jason Statham ain't no small boy.
You know what is crazy? He's in better shape now than when he was in the WWF.
110%. The whole time.
You look at the WWF Rock, he's like probably flabby.
Yeah, compared to this. The Rock was big, but he wasn't like this. No. And then he got skinny. Do you remember like when he came back as Hollywood Rock? He was like thin and like he was very cut.
Yeah.
Then he just, I don't know what it is. He just blew up. He literally turned into a rock.
Yeah.
He looks like a fucking boulder now.
Where was he huge in the Rundown? No, right?
No, that's when he was like still skinny. Then he just ballooned up.
What about Walking Tall?
Walking Tall, he was still skinny too. That was like when he first came into Hollywood. I don't know.
What was the first movie he was a fucking
Probably
monster?
Fast Five.
Yeah?
Yeah, because that's also when he had the goatee, he shaved his hair off, you know.
Maybe.
I think he got...
And he's just always soaking wet.
Always. I'll put the baby oil on him and everything.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just like,
that's crazy.
It's either him or Arnold. It's just like the biggest guys I've ever seen on film.
So anyway, we're curling the bench, we're punching the wall, we're doing all these things in the jail cell, and then all of a sudden the Rock's door opens. Boom.
Yep, and he
he looks at the camera. He's like, I said no, Mr. Nobody. I want to do this my way. And then the guards come up. And he's like, look, it's a malfunction. I didn't do this, blah, 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 blah. Jason Statham grabs the guy.
Takes the electric wand.
Takes the little taser he's got. Hits the sensor on the top of the door. It opens up his door, and now he's making a break for it. Now the entire prison is a riot. There's people going crazy. All the convicts are escaped. And Shaw is just making a beeline for the door.
Yep.
And now The Rock is, we're chasing him.
The Rock is fighting all the guards himself.
Yeah, he's beating up all the guards like a fucking superhero. Like that one
It's
scene.
Arkham. It's his fucking
that one scene, all three of them with the riot shields, and he just blows through them like
he's taking
like on a bomb.
He's also taking. He's like, oh, rubber bullets. Like that wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
If somebody shot me with a rubber bullet, I'm fucking going down.
You see, Johnny Knoxville's a tough son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And it took him down.
Yeah.
So
that's going to take you down. There's a reason why they use those. The Rock, though, he doesn't just take one. He takes a few.
Bounces off him.
Yeah. Like,
Anyway, so we're kicking ass on the way out of the prison. We're just fucking warpath. And we get to they finally roll out like a door or something. We're outside, and they get up, and then Mr. Nobody walks in, and he checks his time. He's like, it took a little bit longer than I thought.
Yep.
And then I guess they had guns to them because they didn't keep fighting after that.
No, because I guess they saw Nobody, and Nobody took them both, but only The Rock goes back with Mr. Nobody. Jason Statham stays. I guess they kept him a secret for the big reveal to the team, you know?
Yep.
So it was the next scene where we cut to the room with Nobody and all them. So the next scene, we see that the rest of the team had been brought in by Scott Eastwood's little Nobody, and he arrested him. He's like, "What? You told me to round him up." And he's like,
Yeah, they got the restraints on. Letty's just about out of hers.
Yeah.
Everybody else is. He tells, "Come on, these are my friends. Get them out of here."
Yeah, Mr. Nobody, he loves these guys. He's like, little Nobody is just kind of like getting used to the whole, way.
Yeah,
It's like a looseness to this whole
He's learning the
way.
ropes. He's still by the book. He's still green.
Yeah, so Hobbs is there, and then we get the big reveal like, you guys need one more. And who comes walking in? But Jason Statham's character. And now this is the start of us trying to redeem him, because he's explaining to The Rock, to them. He's like, well, how did you get in here? This big, worship, big-time cop. I guess what they're trying to say is that's what he was for Britain.
Yeah, he was pretty much the same thing, and
they screwed him over, essentially, saying, they screw you over, they screwed me over. So they're trying to say, we are the same, basically to set up a Hobbs and Shaw movie.
Correct, yeah. So now we're like, maybe this guy's not so bad,
he only
but
killed
I still
Han.
want to kick his ass.
Oh, this is the scene where, this is great.
So we're talking, and we find out that, I guess this is some filling in some back stuff, because they were talking about Owen Shaw being tasked with stealing
Nightshade, which was
right, and then the Mose Jaconde guy to steal the God's Eye.
Yep.
Which was, I guess, the guy who
he was in the helicopter.
Yes,
yep.
but he was with Ramsey or whatever. He was the one that had Ramsey, I think.
Yeah. So basically, now they're going to use the God's Eye to find. So they plug it in. They're like, okay, we have it. And this, I think they said Rome came up with this plan, right?
Yeah. Let's use the God's Eye to find Dom and Cypher. Because Cypher is the baddie.
Played by Charlize Theron in this
who
movie.
is they can hack anything in the world. They're virtually untraceable.
Her, I think they said that her social blueprint or something like that gets wiped away every few seconds, so you can never trace her.
Yeah.
So they plug it into the God's Eye, and then the God's Eye lands. It's like, this location keeps coming back, and they're like, oh, good work, Roman. And then Mr. Nobody looks at it and he's like, huh, that's funny. And they're like, why? They're like, well, that's right here. And then as soon as that happens, boom, explosions going off.
Blow the door open, and now Dom and Cypher walk in, right?
Yep. And they come and they steal everything in there. That they take the God's Eye, because basically what Charlize Theron Cypher's plan is to acquire all of these little, well, they're not little, but they're all big weapons, and when they're all combined together, basically she can control anything, and that's her plan right now.
Now this is when they get flashbang to her, whatever,
Yeah.
and this is where she kisses Dom.
Yep, right in front of Letty.
In front of Letty, yeah. And Dom just he doesn't say anything, I'm sorry, or nothing, nothing like that. He's just cold-faced killer, and he doesn't.
Yeah, that's one thing that really bothered me, and I mean, it pays off great in the end, but they really they spend a long time before we get the reveal of why Dom is doing this.
Yeah, they don't give us anything. It's like, what the fuck, Mr. Family. So they get the God's Eye, and we leave the team in distress, and now back on. I guess we later find out it's a plane that they're on. Right?
Yep.
Dom is getting a little aggravated with this, and then she shows him Elena and his son.
Yeah, we find out, you know what?
Elena got pregnant right before her and Dom split. She had a kid.
She was going to tell him, but
she kept it a secret, and we have little Dom.
Little Dom, but Dom loves family, and now that he has a kid, that's got to trump over the rest of the family.
Which they end up naming Brian at the end.
We have a lot of things to say about that for when we get there.
Yeah, we'll get there, because it doesn't quite make sense.
No.
So...
And she tells him that if he doesn't cooperate, they'll die, which now we know why.
they're going to kill the baby first, which is just fucking crazy.
Yeah, no, that's some real fucked up thing, that the way they were going to kill a fucking infant like that, no, it's messed up.
So now we're in New York City, and
one thing I want to bring up about the production. I do love every time they go to each location, they kind of put like the font in like certain areas, so like blends in. I love that little aspect.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So now we are. Dom is tasked with retrieving the nuclear football, which basically is just a suitcase with some nuclear launch codes. You know, you're just your basic launch codes. No big deal. Everyone's got them. So. We are in New York, and some Russians are driving around in a bulletproof limo. Dom is tasked with getting the codes out of this limo from them. So he,
Well, first he's like just driving in his Charger in the city, and he starts to have a little bit of engine trouble. He says,
"Is that right? No, I don't think that happens yet. This is when he's driving the GTX."
Yep, and he pulls in.
He's got a little switch on the floor that I guess cuts the spark or ignition or whatever out of the fucking car and makes it run like shit. So he pulls off, and I guess he had time to make plans with the guy he...
This is what I don't understand. How did he have time to make plans when he's under this constant, like, pressure?
Yeah, I don't know.
To reach out...
The guy he beat in a race in Cuba is driving a delivery truck. He blocks all the... You know, he I guess Dom scouted out the area. He pulls into this alley. He knows where the cameras are. He's got the spot for the truck to park. He pops the hood and he's pretending to fix the car, but he really goes into a bar where Deckard's mother is,
which we
actually don't know.
Yeah,
it's just some old lady who says she's very powerful and I need 5 minutes. He shows her this little Fitbit watch, and that was really the end of that scene. We don't know really what happened.
Nope, we get to reveal
it. He explains that the first time I saw my son was behind glass, and it's the worst feeling in the world. I can give something back to you. So we're like, you know, she had an accent. Maybe it's Deckard's mom or some shit, which it turns out to be.
Deckard and Owen's mom. Yep.
Then we're getting the nuclear football.
So yeah, he gets back in like just in time.
He shows the spark plug because he had no tools, but he was able to change the spark plug without tools.
And within 5 minutes, also, he headed the bar back, everything, no problem.
Also impossible. So, yeah, we are now chasing that... Well, did he chase? Was there a chase, or he just kind of...
No, he shows up at the end because Charlize Theron's Cypher sets off one of the coolest scenes in the entire movie. He turns every single car into a zombie. They call it zombie cars. So they're all just flying out of buildings. They're just chasing... My favorite scene in the whole... Not my favorite scene, I mean my favorite shot in this whole thing is... Dom is around one corner, and then you just see this sea of cars come flying around. Over the top ridiculous. This will never happen, I think, and I loved it. I actually thought it looked great. Like, the CGI wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't terrible. I was trying to look at the cars to say, like, oh, that one definitely wouldn't have the capability. But they were all kind of newer, so I guess they were smart.
Well, you plug it into the CPUs of all these cars. I mean, this eventually might be possible, but I don't think you can do this now.
Yeah.
Because, like, the one guy was driving his car and they took it over, so I'm like...
Yeah, you know...
A lot of deaths, I'm sure, happened during this.
Forget what you know.
Yeah, but I guess they're coming down the one street, the cars are falling, and they block in the one car, and then here comes Dom with a big, giant fucking saw.
Mm-hmm. And a shield. He had a shield because they were shooting at him. They only had one clip in the gun because he said, I'm out, after he emptied one clip. So that was enough, and then he cuts open a chunk of the car by the gas tank. He lights a flare and says, "Look, I'm gonna drop this, or give me the codes." So they hand the codes out the window. He's got the nuclear football, they like to call it.
Yep.
Now he's back in his car. He's trying to make an escape, but boom comes the team.
He's like, I think I know where my team is, and they're like, where? He's like, in front of me. And then then the chase pursues where they're trying to, and they basically actually cornered him. Mm-hmm. They all cornered him, and they're like, okay, we got him, but little nobody fucks up and shoots at him, which gives Dom enough time to hit a trash can, shoot the gap, and now he's pretty much gone until he himself gets cornered again, and we find out that all the cars have like these hooks attached to the front of them. Yep, and then they all come up. Perfect plan, actually. Would have worked. Where they're pulling his car from every direction, which I assume in real life would have ripped this car up, right?
Probably, or it would pull through like the sheet metal and stuff.
Because he's able to like get out of it because I guess his car was more powerful. That like Jason Statham had his hooks in there.
So wrong.
And they're like. And like somebody's like, oh, he's got 3,000 RPMs on there. Jason Statham's like, more like 5,000. I'm like, 5,000?
No.
Oh, horsepower. I'm sorry.
A fucking top fuel dragster has like 2,500 horsepower. Okay? A top fuel fucking dragster that runs on alcohol. Okay? This is not even close to that. if he's lucky, that was maybe an 800 horsepower.
Well, he
car,
is
and that
spinning like every once in a while. He'll be setting off some more nitrous to help him get out of here.
But that really does not do much, and he's just spinning the tire. Anyway, so I mean,
This was almost as unbelievable as all the cars flying out the window, because I'm like, they have 5 cars in full speed reverse just pulling at this car, and his car is just that much more powerful than all of theirs combined.
I mean, it's a heavy car, but still, this is not how that would have played out. But whatever, it doesn't really matter.
No, he gets out of there.
He almost gets out of there.
He almost
He
did.
starts pulling them all in from each way, and but the last pull he does, it flips his car over.
But easy.
So they say, all right, get out and run. So he's starting to run, and Shaw's chasing him. They turn around in an alleyway, and it looks like he's about to shoot Shaw, and then the camera changes, right? And then you see him shoot Shaw, and The Rock sees it. He goes, no, 'cause now that's his buddy now.
Yeah, because we did have a scene that we passed by where the two of them were working under a helicopter.
Oh, we got past that?
Yeah, trading insults, and then at the very end of them trading insults,
They just start laughing.
yeah, like, oh, maybe you're not that bad after all.
We skipped that.
Yeah, that was also in the scene where they were going through all the cars, and
And Roman wanted the orange Lamborghini.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Nice car, and he brings that to Moscow, wherever the fuck they went in the snow. But we'll get to that. So it looks like Shaw is shot dead in the middle of the alleyway.
Dom gets away.
And Dom gets away. Letty's chasing him now, right?
Oh, Letty does chase him, and then she end up in an alley.
She picks up the codes.
And he knows, and then he has the gun to her, and she knows, she's like, you won't shoot me. And she turns around, but then there's the guy from, another guy from freaking Game of Thrones in this movie, with that beautiful long red hair and beard, looks just like me. And he grabs, and he has no problem, he's about to shoot Letty, but Vin Diesel puts the gun to his head, and he's like, no. And then they walk off with the gun, and Dom doesn't he could have said something to Letty here, I think, don't you think?
Yep.
But he doesn't. He just looks at her, and he walks off with the Game of Thrones guy, and, then goes back. And unfortunately, when he gets back to the plane with Charlize Theron, she said, I know you weren't going to shoot Letty. So they go back in the back of the plane, and they kill, off camera, Elena.
Yep. So they execute Elena right in front of Dom.
And
they threaten his son after that. So she's like, look, I'm not playing around. This is
I wouldn't fuck around with her either after that, to be honest. You kill somebody like that in cold blood, I think she would kill the kid.
I think so too.
They're psychopaths.
Cypher sends Dom on yet another mission.
Yep.
Just to
keep hammering it. How long was this gonna last?
I don't know. I mean,
if Dom didn't come up with a plan, like, what was the end game here? I think she kills them both.
I guess. I'm not sure. I mean, he was just a. What's the word I'm looking for?
Just a pawn in the chess game, right?
No.
No?
No, he was just an honest DVD player stealing street racer, and now he is going on these top secret missions.
Well, she said that if he didn't fucking ruin 2 of her other plans, she wouldn't even had him on his radar.
Yeah.
So that's the whole problem with this.
Yeah, so the events of, I guess,
well, that's their
6 and 7.
6 and 7, because Owen Shaw, that was her first plan, and then the second plan was the God's Eye thing, and she's like, oh, I guess this is the guy. So I'll have him work for me then. Yeah,
so Dom infiltrates a military separatist base in Russia to use the EMP device to disable security and a nuclear submarine. So this is when we're getting into the final act.
Yeah,
where,
this is what, the big ice chase.
This is what it's all leading up to. She wanted this nuclear submarine, this submarine with all this firepower on it. So they launched the EMP. Well, they used the EMP, and it shuts down, I guess, all the security and gates and locks and whatever the fuck.
Anything controlled by electricity is gone.
Right. So that enabled Cypher to hijack the submarine, which she was able to remotely operate.
Yep.
And
she could just do all this.
She gets to that. Well, she's the best hacker in the entire world. So somehow the EMP did not affect the submarine, though. So we were still able to connect to that wirelessly. and she wanted that to basically start a nuclear war, I guess. So
well, she has all this stuff. She has the God's Eye, the submarine. She got the EMP. She got the nuclear war codes. She has access to. That's her whole. She wanted to really assemble all of these.
She
things.
had a monopoly.
Yes,
she had a monopoly
on every weapon that basically every country had.
So now she is the.
She'll be the world's biggest superpower if she could just stick this landing.
She's the greatest force in the galaxy.
Yeah, I would say so.
Right? That's a Star Wars quote, right? This station is now the greatest.
Referring to the Death Star?
Yeah. Now the greatest power in the galaxy, or something like that. I forget the exact term. Because the radio station used to have that quote, remember?
Yes, you're right.
I like that. That was pretty funny.
It was.
That was good.
When you used to listen to the radio.
Yeah. FM. Ugh.
Oh my God, imagine. We are so spoiled now.
Yes. So here comes the team.
Yeah.
You know, we can't allow this to happen.
And this is this is like, you know, one of those things where we are just throwing reality out the window. Because I'm pretty sure most of these cars would have no traction.
Well, all bets were off, remember? And they said, oh, all bets are off. So, you know, Rome took that orange Lamborghini straight to...
Russia.
Yeah, straight to Russia, right on the ice.
Yep, biggest body of ice I've ever seen.
Makes sense.
Yep. Everybody's in their cars on this ice. They're all chasing down everybody because like they got like I guess all the people that work for her are driving these other trucks. We get some really cool shots in here, like with my favorite thing was with the missile floating across the ice, and then the Rock kind of like guides it into the other thing. He's like, because he's in the car with Roman because he just saved Roman who went under the ice in his Bentley, and I was like, oh, that was actually pretty damn cool how the Rock did that. I enjoyed the Rock and Roman's dynamic there. At the exact same time this is going on, though, we find out that Jason Statham and Owen Shaw have just infiltrated this plane.
So they give us a quick little cutscene that after he was shot, 2 armored up cops or SWAT agents or whatever, they come and pick him up, and it turns out to be...
the guys from Fast and Furious 4.
Yeah, well, 5.
Oh, 5.
4 and 5. Well, what's their name? Leo and Santos.
Yep.
And, you know, they're always arguing in Spanish.
They were still arguing.
In Spanish, back and forth to each other. We like that. So, they're trying to prevent the sub from leaving to the sea, you know, because if it got out into the ocean, it'd be pretty hard to fucking track.
It's a big ocean. Earth's 75% water.
Yeah, they would probably lose track of it, and I think Cypher would win at that point.
Yep.
But we can't let that happen.
So actually on the camera, Cypher sees Jason Statham and Owen Shaw show up. She's like, I thought you were dead. And then he's like, nope, surprise. And then they start going through this plane. And he gets to the back. He sees the baby after he kills everyone.
Well, did you see how they got on the plane? They had like these jetpacks, and they
went through the bottom of it.
Yeah,
the cargo part of the jet.
Yep. And so the Shaw brothers are at it.
Because we found out that their mom talked to Vin Diesel.
And it was cool to see Owen Shaw back. He was all burned up after the events.
Yeah, he's recovered, and that's the whole thing why the mom wanted. I actually really thought that was hysterical. Well, she's like, you got to bring your brother, and he's like,
There's no way I'm using Owen, all right? It's a lost cause.
He's your brother, Dex.
come on, like I don't want to bring it.
They were really just tasked with
Getting the baby.
Which that scene with Jason Statham,
Favorite part of the whole
the
movie.
chipmunk music on
Yeah.
that was so cool. Just took out all those guys with the fucking baby in the.
He's moving it along with him, and he's always smiling at the baby.
Yeah.
That was
How's the music?
Jason Statham is perfect in this because Jason Statham always plays the angry guy. It was nice to see him play a little lighthearted. I know you don't like it, but like in the movie Snatch, this is kind of more like that. Where I like to see Jason Statham do a little bit of comedy instead of always just being angry British guy. You know,
Right.
I like the little bit of range that he shows here.
Deckard Shaw, Jason Statham saves the baby. Owen has got the pilot's pretty much hostage. He's got him at gunpoint. Cypher just escapes. She's the only one with a parachute. She jumps off the plane, but you know the plane's now safe. We got the kid. We report back to Dom, and Dom is sitting on some cliffside with the big buff, the red hair guy.
Yep.
He's got a sniper and he's ready to take out the team as they're trying to stop the submarine.
He tells him, he's like, I'll let you pick who I shoot first, and then he doesn't say anything, and he's like, fine, I'll start with the wife.
Yeah. And then Dom gets word that that the baby's safe, and now it is fucking game time.
He gets out of the car, walks up to this guy, and he's like, I'm looking you right in the face. Because Dom said that's how the only way he'll ever kill anybody is if he looks them in the face.
Right. Then he throws him across the hood, and he just smashes his face down, breaks his neck, boom, dead.
Yeah.
Jumps in the car, jumps right off the cliff, blows out the entire front end of the car, and somehow it still drives away fine. He's back on the team, no questions asked.
Yep.
And now we're off to the races.
Yep.
I think this is the scene where The Rock directs the...
Yeah, because they're all working as a team together here now again. Because
And who says it, The Rock or Rome? The good to be riding with you again, brother?
Roman says that.
Yeah.
Roman's like, yeah, good. Oh, no, it was Tej.
Yeah.
Because Tej also pointed out to them because I think one of them was a little iffy about him being back.
He's like,
And
well, he just saved our
life.
asses.
Yeah,
Or
but it
something
was
like
Tej who was like, yeah, it's good to be riding with you again, brother.
Yeah. And then Cypher shoots a infrared homing missile in desperate last attempt to kill Dom. So he has some sort of... I don't even think it's the exhaust. He's just got some, like, fire pipe sticking out of the back
Well,
of
that's
the
what's
car.
attracting the heat.
I understand that, but, like, what... did he plan on infrared heat-seeking missiles? I'm not
How
sure.
did he hook up a meeting with the Shaw's mom? I don't
So-
know. It's just one of those things.
I don't know. So the missile's chasing just Dom. He lures it away from the team. He circles back because he was able to dodge the missile. Circles back towards the marine, the sub at 60-something miles an hour. He just double tap the gas like in Cruising USA to do a wheelie, and then he does a wheelie over to the submarine. Jumps over the submarine. The missile hits the sub, destroys the submarine. The car goes flying around, blows up, and the entire team somehow has time to come back and make a circle of cars around Dom to,
Welcome him back.
Well, no, it saved them from the explosion, if you noticed, because the explosion was going to kill him, but they all got there and he was huddled down, and they made a circle of cars to block the explosion.
Oh, you're right. That would work. No.
Yes, 100%.
So yeah, the next scene is when we show up to the Brooklyn apartment that you were talking about.
Hold on, we're still on the ice. And then, Dom rolls out of the car, and Letty comes and hugs him, and then Rome goes, he's like, "Can we get out of here? I'm cold." But he's standing in front of the blown up sub, and he starts taking selfies. And somebody goes, "This is classified." He's like, "Not today."
Not today. A little somebody said that.
Yeah.
And they show the pictures.
He's taking selfies with the blown up nuclear submarine. And then it cuts to a rooftop in the Bronx.
Yep.
Very random because whose rooftop is this? We don't know. And we're on, we're doing.
Oh, I know whose
barbecue.
rooftop this is. I
Whose?
just figured it out.
Whose?
That's the Shaws. Because
think?
because remember he went and saw the Shaws he saw the Shaw's mom in New York, Vin Diesel.
Oh, maybe.
So I'm guessing that she lives around there. It's a very nice apartment. It's a rooftop apartment at that.
I
so.
do like that.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. Like, we'll go have dinner on the roof. And,
You know how expensive that place is?
yeah. Well,
They're playing it off like somebody else is going to go out and buy
it's
that.
the Bronx.
It's still a rooftop apartment in the Bronx. Okay, we own houses in New York. Imagine what that costs.
I still want to say less because the Bronx is not a desirable area.
A rooftop apartment, though?
But it's in the top of an apartment building in the Bronx. It's not Manhattan.
I guess. It's close enough. A shithole house in Nassau is expensive because it's close to the city. Imagine.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So we are up on the roof, and we're doing, the family dinner. Dom walks. Well, actually, hold on. So we're.
Mr. Nobody walked in.
Mr. Nobody walks in, and he starts greeting everybody. And then Deckard Shaw walks in with the baby, and he gives him to Dom. Dom grabs him, and then he introduces him to the family. He said, "Look, I always say that never turn your back on family. I appreciate you guys not turning your back on me." And then he basically says, "I did it all for this little guy here. Guys, I want you to meet Brian."
Yeah.
And he names the kid Brian, which I understand why they did that.
Well, they did it for the real
For the
Paul
actor,
Walker.
yeah, for Paul Walker dying in real life. But naming him Brian in that universe doesn't quite make sense because Brian is still alive.
It's like the equivalent of me having a son and then naming him Matt.
If they named him Paul, it would have made more sense.
They should have just named him Dom. Like, yeah, it would have made the most sense, or whatever Dom's dad was, because Dom's dad is dead. If you're going to honor somebody, but you're just honoring your friend who at this point just lives somewhere else. It's literally just, if I named my son Matt, it's like, well, yeah, I named him after you because we're such good friends. You'd be like, you're a fucking asshole for doing that.
Right.
And I would think I was. So
yeah, so anyway, and then it
kind of zooms out.
Oh, well, actually we get a little thing with Hobbs and Dom too.
Which is the last time that these two will probably interact on camera, because Vin Diesel and The Rock do not like each other in real life.
Just a little sunset.
Little sunset that I hung around for the world's longest credits for, to see the post-credit scene.
You watched the credit? Why didn't you just hit fast forward? I fast forwarded right through them, nothing there, I was out of there.
Yeah, well, I spent 7 minutes
well, you're an
surfing
idiot.
the internet, waiting for the post-credit scene to pop up, and it didn't.
You're an idiot. Why?
No, I
you
didn't.
really didn't fast forward?
I didn't. No, I sat there waiting. I pulled my phone out like I would in the movie theater.
Why wouldn't you just hit fast forward a couple times? Oh.
I didn't want to pass it if it popped up.
You are.
So I waited, and then it never came. I was disappointed when I saw the HDR logo pop up in my right hand corner. I'm like, that's it? I'm like, it's over?
You're crazy.
So overall, I thought that this was a pretty good entry in the franchise. Not top shelf.
Yeah, you know, the whole Dom going rogue and all that stuff, they really kept you in the dark. I just feel like that's not how Dom would have handled that exactly. I feel like he would have...
I felt like this storyline was way too close to the Letty storyline. Like, it was just at the end of 7 when Letty's memory came back. And now at the beginning of 8, now he's on this mission away from the rest of the team. It's like, why didn't they just keep them together? Maybe they should have done with the eventual storyline in F9 and 8, and then do 8 and 9. I think that would have made a little more sense. Because when you watch them back to back, it's a little jarring that we don't get the Letty and, you know, Vin Diesel storyline where they're actually together, both in right sound and mind together.
Right.
So, I don't know. That's the only thing that really bothers me. Other than that, I thought this movie had some fantastic scenes.
Yeah. Jason Statham on the plane with the baby, that was awesome.
He's a great addition to the franchise. It's a shame that they spun. I mean, I'm happy because I do think that if you were to take Hobbs and Shaw, I don't know if you count it in the main line of films, but I think that movie is better than most of the Fast and Furious movies.
I don't know. I wouldn't go that far, but I do want to say that The Rock, anytime he's on the screen, is pretty great.
Yeah, and I don't think The Rock is the greatest actor. I think when you let The Rock do Rock things, like let him like just go off and insult people, I think he's perfect at that.
Yeah, that's the best.
Yeah, but when you get him trying to actually act, I don't think, same thing with Vin Diesel. I don't think they're the world's greatest actors. I mean, Vin Diesel has 2 movie roles where he basically has one line. Like he says, I am Groot in the Guardians franchise, and then he plays the Iron Giant in the Iron Giant. So, this is kind of what Vin Diesel's wheelhouse is.
Yeah, but these are his movies.
100%. He's a producer on it, like you said. Like, you know, like he's calling the shots.
But
like,
I feel like he's rewriting a lot, and you know,
it makes himself, because like he does get into these scenarios, and I guess he, like Matt said before, he's Batman, so he just somehow finds his way out of these situations that no human being could.
Right.
But we'll be back next week with F9, which will lead us right into Fast and Furious 10, FX, Fast 10, whatever the hell you want to call it, coming out. And I'm looking forward to seeing that for the first time.
Yeah, if you guys want to do a little extra credit, you can watch Hobbs and Shaw, which maybe if I have time, I will pepper in before then also. I don't know if we'll do a full-blown review on that.
Yep.
Maybe down the road we will, because we do want to start Mission Impossible soon to lead into the new one.
So actually, for the next couple weeks on this show, we'll do F9 next week. We'll probably have a short review of F10 on the channel, not like a full half-ass review yet. And we're also going to do our favorite movies ever released in the years that we were born. We're going to do a nice little... That'll be a half-ass review because Matt's going away in a couple of weeks, so we're going to, you know, we'll film that in advance.
Right.
So you guys have a show. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us here on another episode of Half-Ass Movie Reviews. My name is John. That there is Matt, my ugly co-host, and we'll be here again next week with you guys. So if you want to, just make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tell all your friends about us. Ow.